Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Can everybody hear me? Welcome to marketing. My name's Gary Hunter.
I am the Founders Chair in Marketing and Data Analytics at the University of Mississippi. And what I would like to do is give you an overview of my background so you've got a feel for some of the things I was doing prior to arriving at Mississippi in the fall of 2020.
So I'm going to do a quick bio. I'm not going to go through all the details that are on this slide. But basically my background is I grew up in Tennessee. You guys probably noticed there's a southern accent that's there. That's a southern accent that's made it through several different states.
Ole Miss is my 8th different university experience, and I'm really looking forward to that. 8 is a charm, as they say, and this is really my 12th. Mississippi will be my 12th state. So I've had a great opportunity to kind of see a lot of different states and a lot of different universities and how they do different things. In addition to that, prior to getting into academics, I worked for 2 different Fortune 500 companies in Procter & Gamble and PepsiCo.
A stint in the United States Army, so it's probably still going to be here at the end of the class. See, I went from Tennessee to West Point, is where I did my undergraduate education. There I studied engineering primarily with some life sciences. So you'll see some of that emphasis in the way that I think about things. Engineering primarily means a lot of structure. Life sciences to me means you've got to accept some ambiguity and deal with some of the sciences that aren't quite as rigid as physics and math that comes with more the general or civil engineering side. I went from West Point to the Army, of course, after my college was done. Served the 101st Airborne Division for 5 years. The 101st is basically an infantry unit, or I was with an infantry unit, and it's basically a rapid deployment force. After those 5 years, I knew I needed to kind of transition to business to kind of understand how you take leadership skills from the military and use those in business, in a business setting. So I went to work for PepsiCo. Worked for PepsiCo managing the territory of restaurants before they sold those restaurants off. So you guys may know they used to own basically what is now the Young brand. So that was basically Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and KFC restaurants. And that gave me a great feel for like entrepreneuring without having to invest in it. Basically kind of 10 restaurants, and it cost in terms of franchise dollars about $10 million, a lot of money, right? So it gave me a good sense of like all the aspects of business. The restaurant is really like a small manufacturing plant. Has anybody worked in the restaurant industry? So you get to see a lot of business from restaurants. Restaurants are a great job, great places to kind of get a feel for business. So if you're looking for making money, but I like the idea of like a lot of people work in restaurants and bars or wherever. I think that's a great place to kind of get a feel for like how the entire business works, front to back end and stuff like that. I managed the territory, which gave me a feel for that perspective, and then went back for my MBA. I did the full-time program at Tennessee, which at the time was really big in the supply chain management, a lot of total quality management, had a lot of supply stuff in it, and a lot of the logistics training while I was in the Army, so that was kind of readily adaptable. I moved more towards finance originally, and finance was really kind of what I thought I would do, because if you're coming from a civil engineering background, that's mostly math and physics and stuff like that. But when I did my summer internship with Procter & Gamble, I worked for P&G for the summer from my first and second year in marketing. Did a lot of sales forecasting and stuff like that for them, and decided that's definitely what I wanted to do long term, so that's kind of when I made the shift over to marketing. I graduated from my MBA program, I went full-time work for Procter & Gamble. At a period of time when technology was really kind of changing the way they went to market. So their customer business development function changed quite dramatically. I got really interested in the way technology was changing things. I was one of like 5 people who did the initial kind of technology, corporate technology stuff at P&G. Wanted to do more study in that from an academic perspective, so that's when I went back for my PhD at Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and studied marketing there. Basically been doing that since then. So a lot of years in academics. This is kind of a path of my academics. Arizona State was my first marketing faculty job. The first time I taught this course was my second year as a professor at Arizona State. I went from ASU to FIU. Anybody from Miami area? Yeah, I went from FIU to Case Western. Case Western was there for about 7 years. In Cleveland, Ohio. Anybody from the Midwest?
I went from Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland to Clemson University in Clemson, South Carolina. Was there for a couple of national championships in football, enjoyed my time there. I enjoyed the students and the faculty and the experience of winning some national champions. And what I'm hoping to do is bring some of that spirit from Clemson to the University of Mississippi, where Ole Miss can win another national championship. So I'm glad to be here in 2020 going forward, and can't wait to contribute as much as I can to your success. It's a privilege for me to be your instructor. I take being an instructor very seriously, and it's one of the greatest privileges of my life. So I'm thankful for the opportunity to teach students and to get to know you. And I hope we can establish a lifelong relationship. A lot of my former students are basically the people who keep me informed on how things work today, and they keep me current with what's happening in business and business practice. So I hope I can help you learn as much as possible about sales and marketing, and I hope this gives you a good outline, at least, of my experience and what brought me to Ole Miss and what I was doing prior to arriving at Ole Miss. So I look forward to meeting you in person and getting to know all of you individually. Thank you.